Good afternoon, dear students. Myself Sandeep Shilwan, faculty of Triple Department, ISL Engineering College. I welcome you all for the BEE revision classes session 5. Hopefully, this will be last session, and this session is purely for paper solving session. Okay, previous year exam question paper will solve here. You are studying AICT syllabus, you already know CBCS syllabus. In this syllabus, only three question papers, only three exams have been conducted so far, and in the three question papers I will be solving previous year question paper, like previous semester. Your friends have given that exam, no? That is December 2019 question paper will solve here. Okay, previous year question paper only I am taking. That question paper will solve here. Before that question paper, I'll just highlight the unit number 5 revision. Okay, revision class 5. So unit 5 I'll just highlight for 10-15 minutes. So I'll just brush up, then we'll start solving the question paper. Unit 5, I already told you so many times that this is the easiest topic to score marks, as well as to clear also. If you want to only clear the paper also, study this, prepare this perfectly. Okay, electrical installations. In this we studied most important question, I will tell you, power factor improvement methods. Okay, this will be there for sure. Power factor improvement. Okay, and just now you have written quiz also, last quiz, that is also last quiz. I told you in the beginning only I'll be conducting only 4 quizzes. Today was the last quiz you attended. In this quiz, most of the students, not most of the students, only 50% of students have given all the answers. Just now I checked the status, only 50% students have given complete answers. Remaining 50% students have made mistakes, especially in this power factor improvement only. Okay, based on these two questions were there. Out of two, one was wrong. Most of the people attempted wrong answer for one. Okay, those all will come to know later on. So this power factor improvement, in this methods are there. Then you have advantages, then causes, as well as disadvantages. Both are same. What are the causes of power factor improvement, they will ask. For that also disadvantage was, both are same. So these three questions, out of these three, one will be there for sure. Okay, if your luck is good, this both they will ask, right? So methods, three methods are there. What are those? Using capacitor banks, using synchronous condensers, then using phase advancers. So using these three methods, you can improve the power factor. Okay, so related to this one question was that using which method power factor can be improved. I have given all these three plus all of the above also I have given. So all of the above was the correct answer, right? Using all the methods you can improve the. So obviously they will give you static capacitor in the exam. Study this very well. Then advantages, you already know what are the advantages of power factor improvement. I have given in the notes, right? Causes, advantages, one more time I will tell you. Advantage, if you improve the power factor, what happens? Size of the conductor decreases. Okay, size of the conductor reduces. If less size means less cost, hence you can economically save also. So this is one advantage. Then what happens? If you improve the power factor, quality of the power improves, quality of the power increases. Okay, then if quality increases, size decreases, what happens? If quality increases means losses decreases. So losses like this you have to understand one by one, so you'll remember easily next step while writing the exam. If quality increases, what happens? Losses decreases. So like this, losses decreases. Okay, then electricity, losses decreases, electricity bill reduces. This also you can write, general answer it is, but you can write, no problem. If electricity bill if you maintain power factor constant, or if you improve the power factor, what happens? The penalties which electrical boards will put on you, that also reduces. Penalty put by government bodies, that also reduces. So like this you have to write the answers. Okay, so these all are the advantages. Then what are the disadvantages if you don't improve the power factor? What happens? Disadvantages, same you can write opposite to this also, you can write, right? Opposite to this also, size decreases, losses increases, power quality reduces, efficiency decreases, poor efficiency will get. Okay, voltage regulation will be very very poor. So these all you can write. But for the perfect answer, please refer the notes of the advantages. There I have clearly mentioned what are the different advantages we can get if we improve the power factor. So this question is very very important. Again and again I'm telling, perfect improve, don't leave this. Okay, then you have earthing. This is second important question. In SAQ he will ask, define earthing, or what is the purpose of earthing, that also they will give you. Purpose of earthing is to protect the human body. This is most important, protect the human body from electric shock. Then protect the equipments also. These are the purpose of earthings. In SAQ for 2 marks they will ask. Minimum 2 points you have to write. Along with these 2 points, write the definition also. For to cover the more to write lengthy answer. Okay, these are the techniques I am telling you. Earthing definitions you write. Okay, then you include one more, human resistance. Maximum value of human resistance is 1000 kilowatt. So as that is very very less, so to avoid that also, earthing is mandatory. So earthing is done using steel wire, steel wire, or you can say copper wire also. In most of the cases we use steel wire only. So steel wire, using steel wire we can do the earthing. And you can say in earthing there are two types, pipe earthing and plate earthing. So these are the ways to increase the answers I am telling you. Okay, like this you have to write the answer if they ask about earthing. One thing you have to keep in mind, that always you have to write the lengthy answers, or you have to write the big answers. Your main aim is to, along with the answers, your main aim is to fill the pages I am telling you. The more pages you fill with proper content, not like that any film story, any songs you write, the more pages you fill, the more chances of getting the good marks. Okay, I'm telling you. So if that particular question answer is less, then also you make it long and make it lengthy and write. You should know how to make the answer into lengthy answer. Okay, that is up to you. But important thing is, right, content should be more. Next, earthing. Then wire, they will ask wire and cable. Different types of wires are there. You have 7 types of wires. Write the types of them, just write the abbreviations. Okay, what are those types you write the abbreviations of the wires. Okay, you have VIR, you have TRS, you have PVC, the most popularly used everywhere. PVC, polyvinyl chloride. Polyvinyl chloride is the insulation. Using that material we insert the wires inside that. Okay, in all domestic purposes everywhere we use PVC types wires only. Then lead alloy, then weatherproof, then you have flexible wires. Wherever there lot of twisting and tangling kind of structures will be there we go for flexible wires. Okay, so you write abbreviations and you write their one use, that's enough. Two sentence if you write for all the six types, it is enough. Okay, because they will ask in LAQ for 5 marks, right? Next they will ask to select the wire, what are the different specifications also they will ask. Specifications of wire, it means to select a particular wire. If you want to purchase a wire for for the installation of anything in your home or in your industry, if you are going to purchase a wire, means what are the conditions or what are the specifications or what are the qualities of wires you keep in mind before purchasing, those you have to write here. First, if you are purchasing any wire, means first thing you have to look for that is its insulation. How is the insulation, whether insulation is strong or weak. Okay, you'll see the insulation, the type of insulation they have used. These are the different types. Wires are classified based on different types of insulations we use. Here one insulation, vulcanized iron we use here. Insulation here, tough. This is continuous version of this one. Okay. Here vulcanized Indian rubber we use. Here we use tough rubber. This rubber is, the rubber insulation is somewhat stronger than this. So this is also stronger than this stronger than this stronger, like this, based on insulation property only these all are classified. So while purchasing the wire, which type of insulation you are looking for, so that is also one important quantity, one important factor you will observe while purchasing. Then next what you will observe, then its duration, for how long it will work properly, its duration or its life cycle. So that also you will see, validity you can say. Okay, then you can see its cost, very important, whether these all coming in our budget or not, that also. Okay, then which type it is. So these are the different specifications. Depending upon that you will select the wires. So if they ask specifications, you write these points. Then they will ask you one more important is battery characteristics. And battery they will ask, in battery they will ask types and they will ask characteristics. Okay, if they ask types, they will ask in LAQ. If they ask characteristics, they will ask in SAQ. Characteristics, 4 characteristics if you write, that's enough. Discharge rate you have to write, what is the discharge rate of battery. Okay, means if you charge it for if you fully charge it, for how long it will give its backup. If you charge your mobile battery fully, up to how many hours it will give you the backup, that all comes under discharge rate. If you are putting it for charge, how much time it takes to fully charge, it takes 1 hour, it takes half an hour. Nowadays fast charging mobiles are coming, within 10 minutes the battery will completely charge. So those all are comes under discharge rate. What is the discharge rate of the battery you have to see before selecting the battery. Those all are comes under characteristics. Okay, then next we can see cost of the battery. Then we can say life cycle, right? Then what is the type of the battery, what is the material used to make that battery. Okay, whether they have used lithium, they have used nickel, they have used solar batteries are there. So all those characteristics We'll keep in mind before purchasing the battery. So these all are comes under characteristics. This is also there in my notes. Okay, then types, you have two types, primary and secondary. So about this you have to read. Explain the different types of batteries. If they ask in LAQ, then you have to read that battery is divided into two types, primary battery and secondary battery. Before answering any question, if that answer is having definition, means start with the definition always. Okay, always start with the definition in the exam. Battery is what? Battery is a device, battery is a device which converts the electrical energy into, which converts chemical energy into electrical energy. What is happening in the battery? It is converting some chemical kind of thing into electrical energy. So it is a device which converts chemical energy into electrical energy. You have to write. Then it is divided into two types, primary battery, secondary battery. Primary batteries are those batteries which can be utilized only once. Okay, which can be utilized only once. You cannot reuse it. They are not reusable, they are not rechargeable, right? Then secondary batteries are those which can be used more than one time. They are reusable, rechargeable. Okay, so this is most popularly used in the universe. Secondary batteries everywhere, in space, satellites, in our daily life, like in vehicles. In vehicles we use this only. Mobile phones, daily needs uses, mobile phones, laptops, everywhere secondary batteries only we use. So this is about batteries. Okay, this completes your fifth unit. Okay, it looks like very simple if you study properly. Okay, 7 questions are there. Thoroughly you prepare them, you will get 15 marks for sure. Okay, if you have scored 25 in the internal, means you are pass. This is intelligent students case. I am telling, this is intelligent students case. If that student is intelligent and he scored 25 plus in the internal, means he need not bother much, because if he study only one unit, means fifth unit he can pass the subject. Average students, if the student is average, obviously he'll be having 20 in the internal. 15, 35 plus 5 means one more unit he has to study. You can say fourth unit, that is easy. This is fifth, then he will pass, right? Then below average, below average student means he'll be having 16 marks. I am considering. Okay, 16 plus 15, 31 plus 9 marks. He has to study. 9 means again he has to study 1 plus 1. So this 1 unit compulsory. Then again 1 plus 1. Here he will not get completely 15 if he is below average student. He will get 10 only here. If he get 10 here, 26 means again 14 marks. So 14 marks means he has to study 3 units completely. 1 plus 1 plus 1, this 3, then again this one, then only he'll pass. Okay, so these are the different scenarios. Right, then next, with this we complete all the all revision classes. We complete the revision of all the 5 units. Okay, now today we'll start solving question papers, previous year question paper. If you have hard copy of question paper of last semester, you can carry that with you. Otherwise, I'll be showing you here in mobile phone only, because I don't have system as I'm in my native. Stop that, man. Okay. Previous year question papers solve. So we'll solve which paper. So I'm taking December 2019 question paper, because out of all the, so far 3 exams have been conducted for BEE subject. Okay, so out of the 3 question papers, December 2019 question paper is somewhat difficult. This paper is only somewhat difficult, so it was tricky also, you can say, because problems were not direct, some problems were tricky problems. And one problem I can tell you, they asked out of the syllabus, and as per the norms, if any question is asked out of the syllabus, they have to give the mark, grace marks will be given. But unfortunately in this case that is not happened. Okay, so that is why this paper was somewhat tough. That is why I have selected this paper. Will solve this question paper only. Okay, later on I will send the question paper in WhatsApp group, don't worry. Okay, if you don't have, if I send now only, can you open that along with the, but now I can't send that paper because live session is going on, no? If you guys have net connection, you can get in the website also. So after the session I will send you the question paper, don't worry. As of now I will show you here only in another mobile. From the another mobile we'll see that question, then we'll solve one by one, right? So in this December 2019 question paper, 50% was theory and 50% was problem. Okay, and along with problem, sorry, 40% on, no, 50, because they have covered in 7th and 8th question, they have covered enough theory. So 50% problem. This is scenario of complete 7 questions, huh? Part B 7 questions will be there. 7 question scenario I'm telling. If I consider only 5 questions, then 40 marks only, 40% of the portion was theory, 60% was problem. If I consider only 5 questions, so complete 7 questions I am considering. Based on that I have divided this. If I select only 5 questions which you need to answer, so 40%, 40 plus 60. Okay, so this was theory, so this was problem. That is why this question exam was very very important. Those who clear, those who have the ability to clear this paper, they can clear any kind of BEE paper. That assurance I can give you. Okay, so that much of importance is this. So we'll see first question. And thing is, one more, I'll do the analysis of question paper unit wise, then we'll start solving. Okay, so that you can get clear idea from the first unit. From the first unit, in part B, this is part A, part B. So in part A, 2 marks theory, one theory, one problem was asked in part A. But in part B, both the problems were asked. Okay, so here 100% problem, so here 50% problem from the unit 1. Like this they are asked in the paper. And from the second unit, So here one problem from Thevenin's and one problem from Norton's he has asked. If you study both the theorems, you can get all 10 marks. As I already told you before starting the session, before starting online classes of revision class, in the first revision class when I told you all the scenarios. Okay, so exact scenario they are asked in December 2019 question paper, complete problem. So this chances of asking like this is very more. That is why for solve the problems, solve maximum problems of Thevenin's and Norton's, you will never get fail. Okay, if something, if anything will save you in the exam means that is network theorems only can save you. Sure, short questions they are. Okay, that is why solve maximum problems on that only. See here in the question paper, so you guys can see this question paper no properly. So December 2019 it is. So this is December 2019 BE first semester. For main and backlog subject for both they have kept common paper. December 2019 subject basic electrical engineering. Scheme question paper. Syllabus is AICT. This is your question paper only. Next, what is the first question they asked here? Give the VI characteristics of electrical circuit elements I, R, L and C. This is first two are from the unit 1. So first question is theory, second question is in the single loop circuit find the current I. So one is theory and one is problem. That only I have written here. One is theory, that only I have written here. One is theory, one is problem. Okay. So first, what is the first question? Give the VI relationship for the electrical circuit elements RLC. So he has asked you to give the relations for electrical parameters. Basic elements of electrical network are basic parameters RL and C only. So we have to write the VI characteristics for this. What is the voltage formula and what is the current formula for this? So voltage for resistor. What is the voltage for resistor? We'll write voltage equations. V is equal to what? I into R for resistor. And what is the current equation? Right here. I is equal to V by R. If you write like this, okay, this is the way you have to write the answer. Always write the units, ohms. If you want to increase the answer, where I is equal to current, R is equal to resistance, like this we can write. Then for inductor, V is equal to what? Minus L into di by dt. Is this correct? Tell me, anyone, what is the voltage equation in inductor? Minus will not be there. Okay, V is equal to L into di by dt. This is the equation for voltage. What will be the equation for current? If you remember any one formula, it's enough. With the help of this formula, you can write the equation for current also. See here, di by dt. If I write this equation in terms of I, you can get current equation automatically. So only remembering one equation is important. For all the three parameters, you remember only first equation, voltage equation, V is equal to. Then for inductor also, V is equal to L into di by dt. So therefore, I is equal to what? So I is equal to 1 by L integration of V into dt. We can write the limits also from 0 to t. So this is the equation for current. Very easy to remember. Then for capacitor, again voltage equation only we remember. V is equal to, or we can remember current also. Anyone which you feel easy, you can remember. I is equal to C into dq by dt. This is very easy to remember. So again this equation, if you write in terms of current, okay, v is equal to 1 by c into integration of I dt. This will be ಬೇಕೇ ಅದು ಅದೇ ನೋಡಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನಿಗೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದು. ನಂಗೆ ಯಾರೇ ಇದ್ರೂ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಹೋಗಿ ಖುಷಿ, ಯು ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಗೋ. ಓಕೆ, so I is equal to dv by dt. Same, if you write in terms of voltage, v is equal to integration. If you do integration, division get cancels. Like this, you have to write the first question. This is the first question you have written. Then next, this is first question. Then second question, say here what he has asked in the second question. In the single loop circuit of figure, find current I. So he has given this circuit. In this circuit, he asked you to find the current. This is the circuit. I am drawing here question paper. Later on we'll see positive, negative. And for your first internals, all the questions we have given you, I have set you according to the question paper only. So for more practice, for more perfection, we have done like that only. So this is 5i, 5 ohm, 7 ohm. Next, this is 8 ohm. So here current is flowing to 4 volt. Okay, so this is the question what he has asked in the question. We have to find the value of the current I. This current value we have to calculate. So how to solve this? Tell me. So this is completely one closed loop. So I is flowing in this closed loop. Direction of I is from left to right, anti-clockwise. So this is the direction of the current, because he has mentioned here, right? In the question paper also he has mentioned like this, current is flowing like this. So it's the anti-clockwise. So direction of current is anti-clockwise. So your loop direction will be like this, or you go along with the direction of current only, right? So here he has given the direction of current anti-clockwise in your direction. So from here current is going in this direction, here also in this direction, here also in this direction, here also in this, here also in this direction, here also in this direction. So just follow the direction of the current. Okay, just follow the direction of the current and write the equation, loop equation you write. So in your direction, start from this. So this is 14 volt. Okay, we'll start from this resistor. So minus 8i, minus 8i. Then here again minus 5i. Current is in the same direction of your direction. So minus. So here also minus 5i. Here minus 5i. Here positive, negative. If voltage drop is happening means minus 4. Then again here minus 7. Then here in your direction negative to positive is happening. So it means it will be plus 14 is equal to 0. Right? If you solve this equation, how much you will get? Minus 8 minus 5 minus 13 plus minus 5 is how much? Minus 18. So minus 18. So here this is 7i, it is register, no? So it is 7i actually, I missed here I. So minus 18, 7 minus 25. So minus 25 14 minus 4 is plus 10. Minus 25 plus 10 is equal to 0. This is I. Therefore, I is equal to how much? 10 divided by 25. 10 divided by 25 means 0.4. So 0.4 ampere is the answer. So this is how we have to solve this problem, right? Next is second question we solved from the unit 1. Then next, what is third question? Derive the expression for RMS value of an alternating current. So he has asked you to derive the expression of RMS value. So how do you will solve? RMS value is asked you. What is the answer you will write for that? Yes. Okay. RMS value means RMS value average. RMS value derivation of RMS value you have to write. In the revision class, in the second class I derived this RMS value derivation. Root mean square. IRMS is equal to IM by root 2, or which is equal to 0.707 into IM. So this derivation you have to solve taking one sinusoidal waveform. You have to do the derivation like this. So this is I square. Certain 4 steps are there. First, write sinusoidal equation. Then second point, take the square of that. Then third point, take the average. You have to solve. Then fourth, take square root of this. So you have, using these 4 steps, you have to do the derivation of RMS value, and you will get this. Okay, so this is the derivation. 2 marks derivations they are asked separately. That answer you have to write. Okay, then next question. What is the next question? Derive the active and reactive power. Write the expression for them. So derive the active power and reactive power. So here it means from the second unit he has not asked any problem. So you got advantage here. See, this is part B, this is part A. In part A, both were theory. Theory plus theory is equal to 4 marks. Right? So complete 4 marks were theory. You can easily score. Right? So definition of active and reactive power he asked here. And along with the definitions he asked you to write the expressions. So active is denoted with P, reactive is denoted with Q. Active is product of voltage and active component of current. Active means I cos Y. Product of voltage and reactive component of current. You have to write the definition, then you have to write these expressions. So you will get 2 marks. So this is also very simple. So easily you can get 4 marks, right? So this is about third and fourth question. Then next third question. Third and fourth are over. Then fifth and sixth. Draw the BH characteristics for magnetic material and give the importance of it. BH characteristic. B means magnetic flux density, H means magnetic force. Okay, so this curve he has asked you just to draw the curve. So you know what is the, this is BH curve. On x axis H will be there, on y axis B will be there. Okay, you might have studied in +2. Okay, intermediate hysteresis curve, it looks like this. So it starts from this point, so it increases like this. During magnetization it is like this. So this is during magnetization and this is during demagnetization. Something curve looks like something, this only hysteresis curve, you can say the hysteresis curve. This is BH axis. During magnetization, when you pass the current, core gets magnetized or magnet will get magnetized, so magnetic field increases as magnetic force increases. Then again during demagnetization, magnetic flux decreases because of magnetic force decrease. So like this you have to draw the BH curve. So this is the second, this is from the unit 3. Transformer is having magnetic hysteresis curve. Okay, because core of the transformer undergoes number of magnetic cycles now. Whenever it gets the current, primary winding, core gets magnetized. Then during negative during negative half cycle, core gets demagnetized. Then in next positive cycle, core gets magnetized. Because AC supply we give, in one cycle it is positive, in another cycle negative. During positive, core gets magnetized, during negative, core gets demagnetized. So that is the curve. So this is called as magnetization curve. This you have to write. Okay, then next, sixth, again he has asked you the problem. What is the problem he has given? Same questions I asked. Neer kudanaga kushik jara. Okay, so here in the problem what he has given, observe carefully. Three phase 50 hertz induction motor. This question number 5 and 6 are from third unit. Okay, third unit is combination of transformer and induction motor. One question from the transformer is asked here already in the fifth question. Now sixth question, either he can ask transformer or he can ask induction motor. So three phase induction motor question is asked here. Three phase 50 hertz induction motor. Importance of BH curve, it's nothing but how much amount of magnetic flux, how much amount of core losses are taking place. If BH curve is, that is we can study with the help of BH curve. With the help of that curve only we can study. In BH curve, it is, BH curve is a graph of magnetic force versus magnetic flux density. Okay, so in the core, when we pass the current to the primary winding of the transformer, what happens? Primary coil produces the flux, that flux flows to the secondary winding through the core only. So core is magnetic material completely, it is made up of iron. So how much amount of core flux is being lost in the core? Okay, that is studied by BH curve only. So BH curve will tell you how much amount of flux is utilized, is being utilized and is being wasted. Okay, so that we can come to know with the help of BH curve only. For that purpose we study BH curve. That is the importance of BH curve. Okay, so now we'll come to question paper sixth problem. We'll see here. Three phase 50 hertz, so frequency has given. Right, three ways, sixth question given let the given f is equal to 50 hertz. Then next, induction motor has 4 poles. It means P is equal to 4 number of poles. Poles are denoted with P. If the slip is 3% at certain load, so determine speed of the rotor and frequency of the induced EMF in the rotor. Slip he has given how much? Slip is how much? Slip is 3%. This is in percentage. In decimal you can write like this, 0.03. So he asked you to find out, determine speed of the rotor and frequency of the induced EMF in the rotor. So speed of the rotor he asked you. Speed of the rotor. In induction motor we have two types of speed. One is, in induction motor we have two types of speed. One is RMF speed, another one is rotor speed. RMF speed is also called as stator speed. Okay, stator will not rotate, sorry, but RMF will be generated in stator only. So in induction motor we'll have two kind of speeds. One is RMF speed, another one is stator speed. RMF speed is also called as synchronous speed. In the exam, to make you confused, instead of RMF they will give you synchronous speed also. Okay, so RMF speed is also called as synchronous speed. So this is denoted with the symbol ns, right? Then rotor speed is nothing but denoted with the symbol n, right? So these kind of speeds takes place in induction motor. The difference between these two speed will give you slip. Ns minus n divided by ns is equal to slip. Okay, so here slip he has given you 0.03. So he asked you to determine rotor speed, n is equal to how much. Then he asked you to generate what is the EMF generate, what is the frequency of the rotor, Fr is equal to how much. This is the frequency what he has given is stator frequency, right? So always whatever the frequency they will give in the problem, that will be stator frequency only, if they have not mentioned, or particularly they will mention that rotor frequency is this much. Okay, if nothing is mentioned, given frequency is always stator frequency. Okay, and we have one relation between rotor and stator frequency, that is given by Fr is equal to S into F. So this is the relation between rotor frequency and stator frequency. This also you remember this relation. Okay, F suffix R it is. So this is a relation between rotor frequency and stator frequency. Fr is equal to S into F. Now simple, we have to calculate N and we have to calculate Fr. Okay, so using this formula we can calculate N, right? Because Ns, to calculate N when slip is given, this is the formula, but to calculate Ns, first we'll calculate Ns. So Ns is equal to what? 120 F divided by P. 120 F is 50 hertz divided by P is 4. So how much it is? 4 3s are, so 1500. So speed of the synchronous speed we got 1500. Now using this 1500 in this formula we can calculate slip, no sorry, we can calculate this rotor frequency, rotor speed. So write this equation in terms of N. If you write this equation in terms of N, N is equal to Ns into 1 minus S it is. Okay, so write that formula here. First one is rotor speed, N is equal to Ns into 1 minus S. So Ns is 1500, S is 0.03. So how much you will get? After solving, how much you will get? Calculate and tell me. Tell me how much you will get. You will get 1455. Okay, if you solve this you will get 1455. RPM is the rotor speed. Then next what he has given, what he has asked, rotor frequency. Fr is equal to, we know the formula, S into F. S is how much? 0.03. F is how much? 50 hertz. So how much it will be? 4.5 hertz. So this is rotor frequency. How much it is? Sorry. Tell me this answer. Fr. How much you will get? Fr is equal to S into F. After solving this, how much you will get? I have written 4.5. Is it correct? Where is everybody? Where is Khaja? Where is Tabassum? Where is Taniyat? Where is Aisha Topper? Yasin, okay, good. So you will get 1.5 hertz. Okay, so this is the frequency of rotor. So this is sixth question we completed. Then next we have completed sixth question. Okay, then next seventh. Seventh question he has asked, list out the essential parts in DC machine. So in the second unit, and then is third unit. In the third unit, in part A, one is theory and one is problem. Okay, so one is theory and one problem he has given in the from the third unit. Okay, then from the fourth unit, part A, one theory has given, list out the essential parts of the DC machine. Okay, yoke, armature, commutator, windings, pole core, brushes, all these parts you have to mention, and each working of the parts you have to write here. No need to draw the diagram. What is the question he has given? He has given the question only we have to list out the essential parts. Okay, what are the essential parts of DC machine? Those you have to list out. List out means only just writing the name is not enough, because you are engineering students, so you have to write more. You have to mention each parts, then you have to write the working of each part. 2 points you have to write. So that is the seventh question. What is the eighth question? Eighth question again, it's a problem. So I told you, common scenario is one theory and one problem. So from the fourth unit, one theory and one problem he has asked you. Okay, so problem again, what he has given in the problem? To 30 volt series DC motor is taking 50 ampere. It means DC motor problem it is. What is the type of the motor? Series motor. It means 230 volt DC series motor is. I will draw the diagram. If you draw the diagram in the exams to solve the problem, you will not get difficulty in remembering the formulas. So this is DC motor diagram. So series means this is series. Okay, so this is input. So input, how much he has given? 300 volt. He has written here 230, sorry, 230 volt DC series motor is taking 50 ampere. 50 ampere current means you supply IL is how much? 50 ampere. Line current, they are giving input current as 50 ampere. Then again resistance of armature and series field windings are 0.2 and 0.1 respectively. It means armature resistance. So Ra he has given how much? 0.02. Armature and series resistance is 0.1. This resistance is 0.1. Armature resistance is 0.2. Okay, this is RSC. Series means RSC. Yes, E stands for series. Series resistance is 0.1. Then what he has asked? Calculate the brush voltage and back EMF. How much amount of voltage is generating in the motor here? That is called as back EMF. Okay, how much back EMF is generated, and after generating some amount of voltage drops across the brushes, no? VB is how much? So these two you have to calculate. So you have to calculate given V is equal to 30 volt, IL is equal to 50 ampere, RA is equal to 0.2 ohm, RSC is equal to 0.1 ohm, and you have to calculate EB is equal to how much, then voltage across brushes is equal to how much you have to calculate. This is somewhat tricky, not direct, but if you understood theory very well, you can easily solve the problem, right? You know, the voltage equation is given by, in the DC motor voltage equation is always given by, in the DC motor I told you input voltage is always greater than back EMF. Therefore V is equal to EB plus IARA plus VB. So this is the equation of voltage in case of DC motor, right? So in series, current is same, IL is equal to IA, both are same. So further this equation can be written as, write this equation in terms of VB. VB is equal to V minus IA into RA. Okay, so IA is how much now? V is how much? 230. IA is how much? 50. RA is how much? So to consider, to calculate the brush drops, we have to consider this resistance into consideration. Okay, therefore this will be ISC, you have to write ISC into RSC. Therefore this is ISC into RSC. ISC, IA both are same because it is series. So RSC is how much? 50 into 0.1. So how much you will get after solving? 225 volt you will get. So this is the voltage at brushes. This is the voltage available across the brushes. So 230 you are giving, because why we are not considering RSC, RA here? Tell me, can anyone answer me? Actually in case of DC motor, complete equation is how much? I will write complete equation, then you will understand. Don't follow this. One more time I am writing. So EB is equal to voltage across brushes is equal to V minus ISC into RSC, because before going into the armature, what is the voltage available across the brushes, that we have to take into consideration. So for that, how many voltages are available? main voltage is available, this voltage is equal to this voltage minus this voltage, that only I have written here. Okay, so V is equal to 230 minus ISC is how much, 50 into 0.1. So what is the answer you will get, 225. This is the voltage available across the brushes. Okay, once it goes inside, again while going inside, again some amount of voltage drops across brushes. So after dropping, how much amount of EMF will be available inside, that will be calculated in the next part. So next is EB is equal to how much, back EMF. EB is equal to, so EB is equal to V minus IA into, both we have to take into consideration, RA into RA plus RSC. This is 230 minus IA is how much, 50 into 0.2 plus 0.1. So this is how much, 215. Okay, 215 watt. So I already told you, no, in the DC motor, input voltage is always greater than all the voltages. So a brush is less than 230, back EMF is also less than 230. So this is the answer for 8th question. Okay, next 9th question. What is the 9th question? What are the disadvantages of low power factor? This is from the unit 5. See here, complete it is theory only. 5th unit, part A is part B. Both are theory only. Write the disadvantages of low power factor, then write the specifications for wires used for domestic wiring. These two I have covered in today's class only. Okay, so both are theory. T plus T, both are theory. So here also 4 marks you can easily score, which is I already told you. Disadvantages: size of conductor decreases, power efficiency decreases, voltage regulation decreases, penalty will be put by the electricity boards, kVA rating increases, size of the equipment also increases, losses increases. Those are all the disadvantages. Specifications of wires also I told you, right? So this completes part A. What is the scenario of the part A? Except 5th unit only complete theory, except 5th unit. In all the units, one theory, one problem they have given you in the part A. Okay, then next part B. In the part B I told you first question is from question number 11 and 12 are from question number 11. AB will be there. Question number 11 is completely first unit. Yes, see, both are problems only, both are problems. So we'll solve this problem. Both are from the network theorems. This is special case problem. You observe here. This problem is special case problem. So we'll draw this diagram. Positive, negative. Actually, it is out of syllabus problem. That is why most of the students have not solved this problem. 20 ohm, 60 volt, 30 ampere, 10 ohm. So what is the question he has given here? Find the current through 10 ohm resistance in the following circuit using Norton's theorem. So we have to solve the circuit using Norton's theorem, and we have to find the current across this 10 ohm. So this across 10 ohm we have to find the current. It means 10 ohm becomes your load resistor. So according to the, if you solve the problem according to the procedure, what happens? You will short circuit this. We will solve the problem according to the procedure. First we have to identify the load resistor. After identifying the load resistor, so load resistor is 10 ohm because we have to find across this only, which it has given in the problem. So 10 ohm is your load resistor. After finding the resistor, we have to short circuit this because it is Norton's. In theorems, in Thevenin's theorem, we used to open circuit this. We used to completely remove, but Norton's we have to short this. Short that and you have to redraw. If you short that and you redraw, your circuit becomes like this. So after short circuiting, we have to mention that Norton current is always flowing across this. Okay. So our aim is to convert this complete circuit into Norton's equivalent. Norton's equivalent circuit is given by this is the Norton equivalent circuit, and we'll be connecting resistance in parallel. Across this load resistor will be there. So this is load resistor RL, this is IL, this is RN, and this is IN. So this is a Norton equivalent circuit. This circuit we have to convert like this, and at the end we have to calculate load current. IL is equal to IN into RN divided by RL plus RN. So we have to calculate IN first. RL is already given from the problem, 10 ohm. So our aim is to calculate RN and IN. So for that we are doing this problem, how to calculate. So once we short circuit the load resistor, whatever the current which is flowing in that path will be IN. We have to mention like this. Now see the problem carefully, observe the circuit. In between two nodes, sorry, in between two loops, one current source is connected. So this we cannot. Now this is the loop, this is first loop, this is second loop. There are two loops. Now when there is a current source connected between the two loops, we cannot apply KVL directly. This is somewhat tricky problem. Okay, so in this case we have to apply one more method. This problem becomes super mesh because whenever the in between two loops, in between two meshes, if current source is connected means that is called as super mesh. So we have to apply the super mesh technique, and using that method we have to solve the problem. So for that, what we have to do, super mesh technique, while applying super mesh technique we have to consider that this loop is not connected in between these two. We have to remove this complete loop, and your circuit becomes like this. We have to remove, while applying the super mesh, we have to remove this current source which is connected in between the two loops. We have to consider that it is not connected. We have to imagine that it's not connected. We should remove this. In that case, what is the circuit? If it is removed means there will be only one loop. The circuit becomes like this. It becomes like this. Okay. After removing this, while applying superpose, so applying the super mesh technique is nothing but removing this current source. Then the circuit becomes like this. Then we have to apply KVL to this super mesh. So here, what is the resistance value? 20. This is 60 volt. If you apply KVL to this loop, what is the equation you will get? Clockwise, 60 minus 20 I1 is equal to 0. So only one loop will be, I1 will be flowing. You name it as equation number 1. From this, what is the value of I1 you will get? I1 is equal to 60 by 20. It means 3 ampere you will get. I1 value you will get 3 ampere. This you name it as equation number 1, not this one. Next, come here. After applying KVL, you found one value of I1. Then come back to this circuit. Here apply KCL to this loop. If you apply KCL to this, how much you will get? In this loop, current is flowing in clockwise direction, and this current source direction is also from upward to downward. So this and this, both the currents directions are same only. This is also coming from upward to downward, this is also coming from upward to downward. Its value is 30 ampere. And observe here, this current is flowing from downwards to upward, current in the second mesh, but this current is coming from upward to downward. So this current is opposite to this current. Therefore, what is the equation you will get? I1 minus 30, sorry, I1 minus 30, or you can write I1 minus I2 is equal to 30 ampere, you can write. Okay, because I2 is opposite to I1, that is why I1 minus I2 is equal to 30 I have written. This you name it as equation number 2. Substitute the value of I1 is 3, so I2 you will get how much after substituting? I2 is equal to 3 minus 30, so it will be minus 27 ampere. So I2 value will be minus 27. Now you got I1 and I2. Next, our aim is to calculate IN. We want IN, but you know IN, in this path IN is flowing, so here I2 is flowing, both are in series, so I2 will be equal to IN only. So here I2 value itself is equal to IN, so we calculated IN. Next aim is to calculate RN. So to calculate RN, we have to short circuit the current voltage source and we have to open circuit the current source. So if you short circuit, this is resistor. If you short circuit this voltage source, then open circuit this current source. If you open circuit this current source, again what you got? Sorry, this will not be there. This is load resistor, we have to remove. So this is RN. So what is connected? Only one old resistor is connected, and that its value is 20 ohm. Therefore your RN value will be 20 ohm. Only one voltage source is connected and its value is 20 ohm. So RN value is 20 ohm. So you got RN, you got IN. So using these two value, calculate load current by substituting in this formula. Therefore IL is equal to IN into RN divided by RL plus RN. IN is how much? Minus 27 into RN is 20 divided 20 plus 10. So what is the answer you will get? Load current you will get 18 ampere. So this is the solution of that problem. Okay, then next in the second case, second problem in the part A, what he has asked you? He asked you to solve the problem using here one more problem he has given. Evaluate the current flow in 3 ohm resistor using Thevenin's theorem. So this problem we have to solve using Thevenin's theorem. So this problem we have to solve using Thevenin's, positive, negative, right? So this is a direct problem, you can easily solve. Okay, positive, negative, 4 ohm. One problem is given on Norton's, that was somewhat tricky, so using super mesh we have to solve that, but here this is easiest problem, direct method. So what is the current flow in 3 ohm he has asked? 3 ohm means across this we have to apply the Thevenin's theorem and we have to solve. So this becomes your load resistor. So this complete circuit we have to convert into Thevenin's equivalent. Thevenin's equivalent circuit is connected given by one voltage source along with the resistance connected in series across this load resistor will be given. This is the Thevenin's equivalent circuit. This is VTH, this is RTH, and this is RL. You know this. So we have to calculate VTH and RTH. At the end we have to calculate the load current which is flowing in the circuit. That is given by the formula IL is equal to VTH divided by RTH plus RL. So in this way we have to solve this problem. So to solve Thevenin's problem, we have to identify load resistor. This is load resistor. So we have to remove this. Step 1 we have to remove that. After removing we have to redraw. Then the circuit becomes like this. This is your circuit. This is 10 volt. This is 4 ohm. This is 6 ohm. And this is 42 watt. So after removing the load resistor, there will be only one loop. Only I1 will be flowing in all the circuits, and we have to apply KVL. After applying the KVL, we have to calculate the current. So this is okay. Point A and B. We have to remove. We have removed this. After removing, this is the circuit, and there will be only one loop. We apply the KVL and find out the current. So how much current you will be getting after applying? So this is 42 minus 6I1 minus 4I1, again in your direction negative to positive, plus 10 is equal to 0. If you solve, how much you will get? I1 is equal to 42 10 52. 52 means 5.2 ampere you will get. So this is the value of the current. Then next we have to calculate VTH. How to calculate VTH? To calculate VTH, what you have to do? You have to consider VTH is connected across this loop. So just imagine that VTH is connected here. Okay. Then consider any one loop which is having VTH. Consider this loop. So if you consider this loop and you apply KVL to VTH. So 42 minus 6I1 minus VTH. So 42 minus 6I1 minus VTH is equal to 0. I1 value you substitute here. If you substitute I1 value here, what is the value of VTH you will get? VTH is equal to VTH is equal to 42 minus 6 into 5.2. How much you will get? 10.8. VTH is equal to 10.8 voltage you will get. So this is the value of VTH. Then you have to calculate RTH. To calculate RTH, we have to short circuit voltage sources and we have to short circuit current sources. Then the circuit becomes like this. Short circuit this voltage source, short circuit this voltage source, and here we have to assume that RTH is connected here. Then this is how much? 6 ohm and this is 4 ohm. Now I assume that current is flowing from this direction. One is going here, another one here. These two are in parallel. Therefore RTH is equal to 6 parallel 4. 6 parallel 4 means how much? 6 parallel 4 means 6 into 4 divided by 6 plus 4. 24 divided by 10. Therefore RTH is equal to 2.4 ohm. So this is the answer for RTH. Now you got VTH, RTH, IL, all you got. So in that case, what you have to do? Now you got all the problems. At the end you have to draw the equivalent diagram of Thevenin's. This is the equivalent diagram. So VTH is equal to, calculated how much VTH? 10.8 volt. RTH you have calculated 2.4 ohm. RLE has given 3 ohm. So using the formula IL is equal to VTH divided by RTH plus RL, we can calculate. So VTH is 10.8 divided by 2.4 plus 3. So your answer is 2 ampere. So this is the answer IL. So this is how you have to solve the problem. So in first unit, in part B, both are problem. In the second unit, show that current lags the voltage by 90 degree in pure inductance circuit and draw the necessary diagram. So in this question he has asked you to solve the derivation of pure inductor. Show that current lags the voltage. In which circuit current lags the voltage? Pure inductor. So you have to solve the derivation of, in the 12th question you have to solve the derivation of pure inductor. Okay, you have to consider inductor, and what happens if you pass the alternating current to this inductor. Okay, so you will get the phasor diagram like this. If this is the current, this will be the voltage, and you will get the power waveform like this. This is voltage, this will be current, and this will be power. So like this waveform will get. So pure inductor derivation you have to solve. Then in the second, again they have given one problem. Balanced three-phase star connected load has an impedance of 5 plus j10 per phase and is supplied from the balanced three-phase 400 volt 50 hertz AC supply. So calculate the current. So A bit has asked you theory derivation, B bit has given you the problem. Then that problem will solve. In the next question what he has given from the third unit, show that this is over now. So here for 13 questions, explain the constructional details from the unit 3 working principle of operation of three-phase induction motor. So we have to write the working principle of three-phase induction motor in the 13th question. Working principle of three-phase induction motor we have to explain here. So 4 diagrams will be there like this. You have to consider different scenarios. It is there in my assignment questions. Okay, this question. So what happens when we take the conductor and kept in between the magnetic field, and in the second case if we pass the current, what happens, and in the third case what is happening. So different scenarios you have to take. By taking different scenarios you have to explain the working principle of induction motor. Three-phase induction motor works on the principle of rotating magnetic field, and whenever current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a mechanical force. How torque develops, that also you have to explain with the help of these 4 diagrams. Then second question is again it's a problem. In a 25 kilovolt ampere 2000 bar 200 volt transformer, the iron and copper losses are 350 watt and 400 watt respectively. Calculate the efficiency on unity power factor at full load and half full load and determine the load for maximum efficiency. So this is the problem of transformer. So here he asked you to find the efficiency of the transformer when both iron losses and copper losses are given. What is the efficiency of the transformer? He has asked here. Then in the 14th, 15, 16, 7. In the 14th question, first question is problem and second question is theory. Explain the principle of operation of capacitor start. I told you, in the single phase induction motor, capacitor start induction motor and capacitor run, they will ask you. So here capacitor start induction motor, you have to explain. For this question, capacitor start induction motor, you have to explain. So you have to take capacitor start induction motor, you have to draw the diagram for that. So you'll be giving, for induction motor you have to give AC supply, so you'll be giving AC supply. So here one winding you will use, so here another winding you will use. Across this only you will be using the capacitor like this. Then here it will be rotor, it will be connected inside this. So this is rotor. So as you give input voltage, input current will flow, one will go to, this is main winding and this is running auxiliary winding. So capacitor is always connected in series with the running winding. Okay, so here we use the capacitor to start this induction motor. So you have to explain this. Okay, one by one each you have to explain. So this answer you have to write for that question. Then next, here this is completely theory. From here 15th, 16th, 17th, list the components of LT switch gear and explain briefly about each component. Okay, these all 6 are theory only. Out of all the 6 questions, most of the questions he asked from 5th unit. This is completely 5th unit only. Part A is also theory, part B is also theory. List the components of LT switch gear. So LT means low tension. LT switch gear components means fuse, MCB, MCCB, ELCB. So these are the components of LT switchgear. Fuse you have to explain, MCB, MCCB, ELCB. This is to protect the earthing. We use this to protect high amount of current rating. In the industries we use MCCBs. This is normally we use in home. Okay, fuse was older version of protective device. Now few MCB is overcome by fuse is overcome by MCB. MCB is overtaken the fuses. Nowadays the modern fuses these are. Okay, these are old and protected devices. So like this you have to write. Then next question what he has given. So next B question is explain the improvement of power factor by using static capacitor. So using static capacitor you have to, 3 methods are there: static capacitor, synchronous conductor, phase advancers. So using static capacitor you have to increase the power factor of the induction motor. So that only has given. So here we'll be giving input supply. So here resistance you will use and here capacitor you are using. So like this you have to draw the diagram. So here we are using capacitor. What happens if we use the capacitor? So that you have to explain, and I have to draw one phasor diagram which is there in the notes. This is completely, 5th is completely theory, part A and part B. Then come to options. 16th and 17th will be random questions of all the 5 units. Okay, mixture of all the 5 units, 16 and 17. They'll combine all the 5 units and they'll ask any questions. Mixture of complete 5 units. So state and explain superposition theorem. I told you, no, only state and explain. 5 marks you will get. Then only network theorems. So only from the network theorems he asked for 15 marks. 2 problems in the 12th question, Norton Thevenin 5 by 10. Then here 5 marks, again network theorems only, superposition. If you have studied all the 3 theorems, 15 marks. Then deduce the expression for power factor in a balanced circuit. Okay, power factor expression you have to derive in a balanced 3-phase circuit. Balanced 3-phase means either you do solve the derivation of star connected and or solve the derivation of delta connection. It is up to you, anyone you have to select. So it's given you option only. So this is also like option question only. So if you have studied any one also, you can able to answer this. You studied only star and you left delta, then also you can able to answer. This is also like lucky question only. That is the expression. Anyone you have to write. Then in the 17th question, write the causes and disadvantages, again low power factor, again from the 5th unit. In the part A 4 marks, in the part B here 10 marks, 14, again here 1 marks, here one question from 5 marks. So 14 plus 5, 19 marks he has asked you. That is why I'm telling you 5th unit is very very important. So again here theory only, write the causes and disadvantages of low power factor. Just now before starting at the starting of session I explained this answer. Then describe the different types of wires and cables. Again this question is from 5th unit only. So 19 plus 5, 24. 2 full questions they have asked from 5th unit. Along with this 4 marks from part A. It means 24. If you have studied 5th unit perfectly, then you would have got 24 marks. Those who have written 5th unit in the last semester, they all have passed this subject. 24 marks out of 24. If you are able to score 16 also, it's enough. Okay, this is the question paper pattern, how they ask the questions with respect to units. So by solving this question paper, what you understood that 5th unit is very very important. Okay, if you want to pass, you have to study 5th unit. And that network theorems. That's it. So with this we completed solving the question paper session also. Even after we have completed, by this we have completed revision of all the 5 units also. We have completed online quizzes also, quiz test also we have completed for the BW. We have taken 4 quiz tests, that also we completed. Now leftover thing is only one, that is seminar. You have to give the seminars. Once again I am telling you, everyone has to prepare the topic which is given to you. Then you have to record your seminar and please send to me. 28th is last day, another 2 days left to submit the seminar videos. I'm telling you, if you don't submit, you will lose the marks. For seminar topics also we have allotted the marks. Okay. So with this I'll be signing off. Even after this also, if you guys have any doubt, please ask me over WhatsApp. And stay home, stay safe. All the best for your exams. Bye.